a lot of times technology makes people's lives better, easier, connects us in ways that we haven't before. But now technology, in at least this case, is hurting people in jail. Jails are replacing visits with video calls, and not very much like FaceTime or Skype. It's a service that looks far, far worse.
Yeah, I was reading on it as well. The purpose of a visit is to make someone feel like a human being while they're incarcerated. Granted, there are levels of crimes and different offenses that people are arrested and incarcerated for, and some people feel like they don't deserve visitors, but you want to have that humane value, and that's what a in-person visitation is for.
Exactly. Like if you see your spouse or your parent or your, someone that connects you back to
the real world,
reality, humanity.
Yes.
Oftentimes these prisons or jails in this case can be extremely dehumanizing and maybe disconnect you from who you really are.
Because you lose your freedoms, you lose all your rights. Yeah, we know that you've given that away once you commit a crime, but they've set rules in place to allow a level of humanity. This is one step chopping away at it again in a bigger way. The last thing they had, the last bastion of hope they had, because now you're not there, you're just in a screen. And that...
Well, they have two ways of doing this. One is your family member, for instance, could go to the Knox County Jail, which is the one that was examined by a journalist recently. And you look at a video screen in the jail of an inmate somewhere else in the jail, and you talk on the phone with them. It's like taking, because before some of them have like a glass partition,
right?
But this is even worse because sometimes the video is grainy. The camera is above the screen, so no one's ever making eye contact. It's different. This comes from the company Tech Friends, which we think is a bad name, but that's beside the point. They have a short video telling you more about their product.
Push more and your talent is hit.
So it didn't look that great even in there. And again, there's on-site calls and off-site calls.
I get what they're trying to do, because they're saying, hey, we can help them feel more like they're still connected while they're incarcerated, because that's what that video shows.
Yeah.
But in all actuality, it's worse, because people would bring their children to the visitation so they could see them physically. There's a difference from seeing a person in general, whether it's a child, relative, significant other. There's a difference from seeing them in person as seeing them on a screen. And then they were saying it lags worse than FaceTime and Skype.
Yes, so a journalist named Timothy Lee was looking into this for Ars Technica, and he used the calling system, and he said it was very grainy, laggy, difficult. A spokesperson said, oh, the ones that are in the facility are better than off-site, but it's still not great. Something that is interesting to note is that the calls cost 19 cents a minute, which is less than most correctional center phone
collect calls.
Collect calls. It's usually about 50 cents or more per minute. But Timothy Lee found out that there is a monetary incentive for jails to be doing this. So oftentimes they'll pick a contractor, and they'll pick the one that'll give them the highest commission, or that'll give them some amount of money. It's basically a kickback for using their system. And Timothy Lee found that at least the Knox County Jail takes a 50% commission right off the top. From between March 2014 and November 2017, the county collected over $68,000 from the service, around 20 grand a year for implementing it. And it shows that there is an incentive for this, a monetary incentive, not an incentive for, I don't know, humanity, human rights, giving people a real connection.
Prisons for pay.
Yeah. It's a corrupt system. We talk about it a lot on the flagship show of this network, The Young Turks, but it's clearly, I think it's so transparent why this is happening, and it's from everyone who was spoken to about this, they don't like it. The families don't like it. The inmates don't like it. The only ones who like it are the ones who can profit.
Yeah, because you're looking at those videos again, and they'll say, oh, the inmates look happy. I doubt they're as happy as you think they are as soon as they hang up that phone, as they would be if it was a physical presence. Again, this is all about, like you just said, people getting paid on the back end. This is all about, like I said, dehumanizing at the expense of increasing a bank account. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And this is why the prison system in America in general is horrible. Granted, we understand that we need it, but when you keep doing things like this, that is why the animosity and the hate comes in behind it.
Actually, I mean, to support your comment, some research does show that visitations do a public good. When people are able to visit with their incarcerated loved ones, they're shown to be recidivism dropping after that. It's better for taxpayers and the public. And according to this study, disciplinary infractions also drop. They're better for correctional officers and jailers as well.
Yes, because I see my loved one, I'm happier.
And you're like, oh, I'm a dad, or I'm a husband, or
Yes.
I'm a wife, whatever.
You have that incentive. It's something about that human contact, and you take that away. All you're doing is lighting the fuel, inflaming him, just making it worse. Because now all I have to see is my loved one through a screen. I'm more upset than I would have been already.
Well, it's also because you know the other option was there and is there for other correctional centers, at least. Audience, what do you think of this all? Is there a way to fix this? I would say some reform is needed. I don't know if this can be fixed from a technological standpoint. Please let us know your thoughts on Facebook and Twitter and below.